Ralph is always trying to get awards and recognition, as he never gets that due to being the bad guy. The romance between Felix and Calhoun is not relevant to the main plot. Both of them are going through Sugar Rush for their own reasons. Felix is looking for Ralph to save his game, while Calhoun is trying to defeat the Cybugs. There's a clear theme present in all of the characters of accepting who you are and not trying to conform to everyone else. Once upon a time, there was a video game bad guy named Ralph. Every day, he was rejected by the other characters for being a bad guy. One day, he goes to Hero's Duty to win a medal and prove to the other characters in his game that he deserves respect. Because of that, he ends up in Sugar Rush with a Cybug who meets Vanellope and offers to help her win in exchange for getting his medal back. Once upon a time, there was a video game bad guy named Ralph. Every day, he trained Vanellope to be a racer. One day, King Candy gives him the medal and tells him that if Vanellope wins, then her glitching will be reported to Mr. Litwack, the game will be unplugged, and she will die. Because of that, Ralph destroys Vanellope's car and goes back to his game with his medal only to discover that everyone has evacuated. Once upon a time, there was a video game bad guy named Ralph. Every day he lived alone in his penthouse. One day he discovers that Vanellope wasn't originally a glitch. Because of that, he goes back to Sugar Rush and discovers that Felix is a prisoner there. Because of that, he asks Felix to help him fix Vanellope's car, but he has to admit his mistakes, until finally Vanellope's car is repaired and she enters the race. Because of that, Ralph and Vanellope discover that King Candy is actually Turbo, until finally the Cybugs reappear, which causes Vanellope to be unable to cross the finish line. Because of that, Ralph sacrifices his life to save Vanellope, until finally Ralph is saved, Vanellope is reaccepted into the game, King Candy is deposed, and Ralph and Felix live happily ever after in their game. All of the main characters have their own unique role. Ralph, Vanellope, and King Candy are the main characters, Felix is necessary for fixing Vanellope's cart, and Calhoun is there because she is necessary for defeating the Cybugs at the end. Ralph is comfortable with being the guy who wrecks the building, and he is stuck in a different game while his own game is under threat of being unplugged. Ralph's main conflict at the beginning wasn't the fact that he was the bad guy, but the fact that the Nicelanders treated him badly when he was an integral part of the game. At the end of the film, this plotline is fully resolved with no side effects. This movie originally featured an easy living simulation game, but it was cut because the writers couldn't figure out how to make it believable. It makes no sense that the Nicelanders don't treat Ralph nicely at the beginning when he is an integral part of their game, and just because he is mean in the game doesn't mean he has to be mean when they are not playing. This movie's premise is fundamentally the same as the Toy Story movies. The video game characters are inanimate objects that come to life when played with, and they have to stay in line and be there for the people who are playing with them, or chaos will ensue. This film started development more than 20 years before its release. Most video game movies perform very poorly both critically and at the box office, and so this movie was about a fictional video game but with characters from real video games mixed in. Ralph has a strong opinion that he wants to be the good guy of his game. This was executive produced by John Lasseter, who directed the first two Toy Story films and reused many of the themes, but in a different setting. It is entirely reasonable that Ralph doesn't want to be a part of his game as he feels like he gets no respect from anyone else. If Ralph doesn't succeed, then his game will be unplugged and the entire arcade will be threatened by cybugs. Many real-world video game characters were included, but they weren't relevant to the plot, and so their roles were kept appropriately small. At the end, Ralph has to fully embrace his status as a bad guy in order to defeat the cybugs. Ralph advances the main plot at every point in the film, including rescuing Felix, letting Vanellope race, and defeating the cybugs. As I explained in point 10, this film has the building blocks from Toy Story of inanimate objects coming to life and being played with by children, and the main character being dissatisfied with their status. This film has several messages that many viewer demographics can relate to, such as how it's important to be yourself and not let your job define you. Ralph tries to win a medal and be the good guy, he makes a new friend in Sugar Rush, his actions cause his game to go out of order, and then the cybugs take over Sugar Rush and he has to save everyone.